thanks for coming back. Well, it may be wet, cold, and dreary this week, but this year has been the hottest year on record worldwide. Now we learn that this may possibly be the strongest El Nino on record as well. Jim, do you know what this could mean for Western Maryland?
Well, I will sum it up with the words of the immortal and deceased George Carlin.
Yes, the inimitable.
The
yes.
weather will continue to change on and off for a long, long period of time. You know, what do I think? I am a skeptic when it comes to climate change.
Oh, really?
I am.
I thought you were more tied to science.
No.
You know,
I am tied to science. I'm just not sure they are. You know, the reality is that a lot of the predictions that we've seen from these climate change folks have not come to fruition. Do I think that we as humans have an impact on the climate? Yes. Do I think that we as humans should investigate and work towards implementing things that have the least impact on the climate? Yes. Do I think it's going to be a catastrophic situation that President Obama described in Paris? No, I don't.
So speaking of catastrophic situations, in 2007, Al Gore predicted that the North Polar ice cap would be completely gone in the summer of 2014.
Right.
Yeah, it's still going to be gone, though. It may take longer.
Okay. So
you see the pictures of Greenland's ice cap.
The ice cap has actually been expanding for the last 2 years, and has expanded to cover the area, a size of water the size of Alaska, U.S.'s largest state.
Now, where did you get that information?
I found it on a scientific website.
Well, how reputable is it?
I've never seen
the
South Pole.
I mean,
I know the South Pole has expanded. I didn't know
the ice is also thicker
No.
and more resilient to melting.
Yeah, but there's islands in the Pacific that are starting to go underwater because of the rise in the sea levels. Now, where's that coming from, Ken?
So we think that you're
the Marshall Islands, for one, they're part of our country.
I'll tell you what, having served as emergency manager in the state of Florida, also one of the things we look at there is the contamination, the salinity of the Florida aquifer. And rising seawaters have definitely had a negative impact on that.
I wouldn't be moving to Florida if I'm not going to buy real estate there, I'll tell you. And there's a lot of people in the business that wouldn't.
The thing with me is we've had 90 to 95% of world scientists who are engaged in these studies who are telling us climate change is there. Now, whether or not we need to get off on these exaggerated doomsday predictions, I don't necessarily agree with that. But the thing is, back in the 70s, if we had done something to start working on the climate, we'd all be wearing these smog masks like they have to do in China now.
Yeah.
We need to be working. We need to be working with that. We don't need to go nuts over it.
But the question becomes, how much of this can we, as the human race, impact?
A great deal.
Well, see, I don't.
We've seen air quality vastly improved. We've seen entire rivers cleaned up.
We're not doing stupid stuff. But
Jim,
can we impact whether or not?
But we would be still if the government hadn't stepped in and started regulating industry to do that.
But why are 150 leaders, the largest group of international, leaders of nations, come together in Paris ever? Because they are concerned about this. Now, you say all those people, the only people that don't seem to have a good grip on this, among the few, are the US of A's people. The president does, but it's pretty obvious. The one who is pushing most of this, do you know who it is?
Tell me.
It is the guy Modi, the Prime Minister of India. That country is going to be, in 2030, the largest country in the world at 1.5 billion people. Now, he's really concerned about this for lots of reasons. And he's a developing country, and they want to do something about it, but he has a moral decision to make here because they have a lot of coal. And they have some of these resources that they could use, but they don't want to do the world in. So that's why he's there in Paris. They actually put together, under his leadership, 120 nations who want to do something about these are the developing nations. Now, there's some really big issues here, because they can't afford to do what we can. We aren't doing what we could. They can't afford to do some of what they would like to do. That's why there is this summit.
But you also cannot accelerate to the point they're trying to. The innovation of technologies
Well,
that will allow us to do
yes,
that.
yes, they can. Do you
No,
realize
they
what's out
can't.
there?
You
Do
know,
you realize what's out there?
Ethanol,
And
ethanol. Yeah, solar's great, but the whole ethanol thing and the corn-based fuels, it pollutes the planet more than the standard
They
fuels.
don't want to do though. That's precisely the point.
Right. Ultimately,
part of it.
in my opinion, ultimately,
Yes, this is
we
part of it.
will all move to green energy.
We
All right?
should.
But we will not be moving to green energy because it is the right thing to do for the environment. We will move to green energy because we will eventually make it cheaper than traditional
Well,
energy.
it's much cheaper already. We
Well,
will
that
do it
depends.
because it is morally right. This is the Prime Minister of India. These aren't, great Christian nation here. Look at that guy. He knows there's a moral issue here. The Pope of the Catholic Church, the biggest religious group in the whole darn world, is all for this. Now, you telling me all these people that are coming together there that somehow we really have to do something?
Will they sign the checks to implement it, though?
They may, and this is the whole point.
And if they do, that's great.
Well, that's what
That's
I
wonderful.
say. Well, that's why we have meetings like this.
And again, back
exactly
to my
why they do this.
back to my original
Yeah.
point. I think we should do everything we can to protect our planet.
Yes.
I just don't believe we have, to your point about the catastrophic doomsday
We are not in
predictions.
And some
doomsday
people are
scenario.
prone to do that, and that really serves no
But
one any
what
good
it does
service
is
when they do
it
that.
takes people like me and
It makes you skeptics.
It
Yeah, I
makes you
understand.
skeptics. If you told me, if you asked me the question, if you said to me, Jim, do this or the planet's, or we're all going to be underwater in 10 years, I'm not going to believe it. If you'd say, Jim, if you'd recycle, it would do this for the planet. I'm
Yeah,
going to
well,
say, count me in.
I drive a
we have to.
vehicle.
We're coming to the end of our time here. Yeah.
We need
I
good
drive a
moderate speech and
vehicle.
ideas with
Yeah.
all of these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Pentagon thinks it's the #1 issue militarily in the world is climate change.
The Pentagon
That's
thinks so?
scary.
Yes, they do. Next up, another installment of our presidential candidate review. What the heck is going on with those people? Please stay with us.